Anomalies, the deviations from the norm. Something that oftentimes cannot be explained, and Irontomb's Amphoreus has a lot of them. Anomalies that arise from out of nowhere and exist as a thorn in his side. Some contribute to his research and others absolutely ruin everything, such as the result of mimicking the unpredictable factors of human nature. However, we just got some information on these anomalies from one of said anomalies that I believe shines a light on this world as a whole. In the last video, we looked into the intricacies of March 7's situation as well as her potential. But even though that section of the story was incredibly short, it was also incredibly dense. Because Cyrene said something to March 7th that reveals that we the Trailblazer are not the only people to stumble our way into Amphoreus. But who are these unlucky individuals who walked into the experiment aimed at destroying the universe? Well, I think I've got some insight. Because this is the Anomalies of Amphoreus Explained. Okay. So we know there is a list of anomalies that Lygus lists for us in the As I've Written book: The Eternal Recurrence, The Hero Within, The Forgotten Years, Mem, and The Ripples of Past Reverie, which is Cyrene's name. And although these are anomalies, these are just the tip of the iceberg, because I believe we have more. And by more, I mean so much more. And by so much more, I mean human anomalies. And what leads me to think this is when Cyrene says that she has seen people walk through the door to Amphoreus and never come back. And of course these individuals would enter the world and be seen as anomalies that Irontomb or Lygus would at least note down. And I believe the individuals we see listed on this electrical signal sequence are these people that walk through the door to Amphoreus, because they all have one thing in common, and that is the fact that they all changed the world and manipulated its rules in a way that kind of broke the rules of the world. We already know that Keslan and Cyrene were responsible for most of the problem, but there are 3 other individuals that are listed here that also break the rules of Amphoreus in their own way. Let me explain. You see, each and every single person here has a prima mobile, and that is a person's central and most important source of motion or action. That'll make more sense later, trust me. So let's look into the first from the top, Orexis 945, aka Cypher, representing a Pathstrider or Emanator of Elation, both before and after she was a demigod. And her prima mobile was desire, making it so that she was entirely driven by her wants and whims, which makes sense. That is exactly how Cypher lived her life. But what is so fascinating about this is that she violated her own prima mobile for well over 1,000 years. Because even though she loved Aglaya as well as the Holy City dearly, she knew that her mere presence put the world at risk. Because if Aglaya were to learn her secret, the Dawn device breaks and everything is ruined. And due to the golden threads existing all over Akima, this left Cypher with no choice but to run away from her own personal comfort and desires. But it doesn't end there, because she even knowingly laid down her life for the sake of the flame chase, which you would think a follower of the Elation would never do. As someone who follows their own desires, you would think that they would follow their most primal desire to survive and prioritize that above everything. However, this is clearly not the case. And as for her breaking the rules of Amphoreus, she absolutely shattered the rules, because not only did she extend her demigod abilities to a planetary level by saving the Dawn device with a lie, but she also took the core flame from a Titan without killing said Titan, then proceeded to lie this Titan into continuing their lifespan long after they should have died, which absolutely shatters into a million pieces all of what is natural about Amphoreus. The Titan living alongside their demigod as 2 separate entities shouldn't be possible. And speaking of living alongside a Titan, we have Schema 720, or Professor Anaxa, who of course represents the erudition, and his prima mobile was critique. And although he did not deviate from this at all to the point of where he critiqued to his final moments of his life, he did find a way to break the world to the point where he figured out the truth of the world he was in, which you can easily call a knowledge singularity. However, luckily this is a knowledge singularity for Amphoreus and not the entire universe, or else Polka would have something to say about it. Or maybe she wouldn't, because Irontomb Polka proved himself. Anyway, becoming self-aware to this extent is such an impressive feat that even Lygus was proud for him to represent the erudition. But just like the erudition followers of the Scholar Strife, their reckless pursuit of questions led to their demise, also because of a potential knowledge singularity. Further reinforcing that Herta is right when she says,
"Curiosity is a dangerous thing, you know."
Moving on to Epikea 216, or Castorus, her entire existence breaks the rules. Because aside from her primal mobile being peace and representing the equilibrium, her state of being caused nothing but havoc. And I'm not talking about her death touch. I mean the fact that she isn't even from this cycle. She's from the previous one before the eternal recurrence even started. Remember, she gave her life so that Polixia could live on as the demigod of death. But the problem arises when Polixia uses alchemy to bring Castorus back, which means she is destined to be the demigod of death, but she's kinda stuck between life and death because she isn't supposed to be alive. So technically Polixia broke the rules, but it is Castorus whose existence is an affront to the rules as well, making them both anomalies. Did I mention that the Death Titan being two individuals wasn't exactly part of the script either? The whole situation here is just crazy. And again, we know how Kevin and Elysia broke this world in half, so there are only 5 people apart from us and Dan Heng that straight up used their abilities to cheat. But everything Aglaya did was reasonable within the realm of her abilities. She didn't know anything she wasn't supposed to know and kinda just died in turn. Same goes for Hyacinth, Maide, and Tribi, and what appears to be Saridra and Hysolins as well. But there are 5 individuals that stand out in a way that neither Lygus nor Irontomb saw coming. And that is something that I think denotes someone not from this world. Because we the Trailblazer and Dan Heng went straight to the anomaly category, because Lygus is well aware that we aren't from here. He also had to do a bit of investigating first. Because if these memo keepers were smuggling people into this world just like they did with March, it is possible that neither Lygus nor Irontomb were aware of their arrival. After all, Lygus did say that the only way to Amphoreus is through him, and he has now been proven wrong on 2 accounts, because the Remembrance and Trailblaze would like to say otherwise. But Nova, Trailblazer, Dan Heng, and March are all labeled as intrusion variables. Why aren't the others? And that is where you would think that this theory dies. But there is something strange about what Cyrene said about the other Outworlders. They could not see or hear her. And this brings my theory right back to life, because we cannot confirm when exactly Cyrene saw these people enter Amphoreus. She could have been getting glimpses of the past that she herself could not interact with, because remember, she erased herself using time, which forces her to kinda sit outside of it, meaning that she can probably see the past and the present at the same time. She was able to study March's memories in a matter of seconds after all. And if she saw visitors from the past where the Memo Keepers guided people to Amphoreus, she would be able to see them but never interact because she isn't really there. That is the past she's looking at. But I guess you're wondering, why was she able to get through to March? Well, it just so happens that this entire scene happens just as Amphoreus is resetting and time is resetting, forcing everything back to 0, meaning that there was no past for Cyrene to wander into. She was for this moment in the same time as March and thereby able to interact with her. Especially if you believe that Cyrene is Mem, because in witnessing Era Nova, she turned back into Cyrene. So it is easily understandable that as our Trailblazer was tripping out, she was here talking to March. Then after March left, she met us back in ID's Elysiae. So in a backwards and upside down way, just like the rest of this story, it is very possible that Cyrene saw Anaxa, Cypher, Castorus, and Polixia all walk into the prison world without being able to stop them because it happened in a time that she could not interact with. She thought they crossed paths, but they never did. So she saw them all mistakenly walk into Amphoreus, and she saw them every single time quite literally lose control of their own fates, and as Outworlders were able to manipulate the rules of the world, but they were merely bending the bars of their own jail cell. They were still trapped, and probably very easily forgot who they were and got swiped away as just another lab rat for the Black Tide to toy with. And we have no idea where people who aren't the world bearer end up anyway. For all we know, all memories are wiped away and they get assigned a role or even a new family. Which makes me wonder where March is. This is a new cycle, so she could be anywhere. So in the end, we don't know for now. But this whole situation is strange, and Hoyo tends to make stories where aliens infiltrate humanity and break the world's rules. Looking at you, Elysia, and every Descender in Genshin Impact. There is another way for these electrical signal sequence people to be explained though. It is possible that Irontomb's code is just fated to turn and rebel against him, and these anomalies other than Kaslan and Cyrene just didn't live to see Lygus expose everything. There is also the possibility that he made these people do these things just to see if he could beat them, or find a way for these simulations of the paths of elation, equilibrium, and reason to basically kill themselves. That's also very easily what Irontomb was trying to do. But either way, I do not think that these people are in any way normal code creations of Irontomb. There is something going on here, and because of that, this is the Anomalies of Amphoreus explained. I know that Finon did tell them the truth on multiple occasions through the many cycles he spent there, but having some terrifyingly powerful time traveler tell you the world is fake is one thing, but having the literal warden of the prison tell you your own identification number to your face is something else. I think these people are from beyond the sky. Their accomplishments are something not even Irontomb or Lygus foresaw. And yes, they do serve as ways the destruction can kill the paths they represent, but I think the source of them is coming from somewhere else. The way they think and use their abilities is just different from everyone else on Amphoreus, and even Lygus and Irontomb had to take note of it. Or maybe I'm just overthinking it again. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace, y'all.